I'll let him in. All right.
All right.
Hi, Bill. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you. I'm Amanda, Partnerships Manager with Accessibility.
Hi, Amanda. So you can hear me?
I can hear you just perfectly.
Good. Usually I'm somehow muted, and so it's good to know that you can hear me. Anyway, we're
I
here.
can. Amazing. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited that Nalinia and Lindsay got us introduced. And yeah, do you have any questions or anything before diving into everything?
No, not at all. I really know very little bit about it. I mean, Nalinia
Sure.
told me just a little bit, so I'm looking forward to learning more and how I can be of a resource to Nalinia.
Amazing. Well, I'll go ahead. I'll jump in. I'll start to share my screen. If any questions pop up or anything you think of course, feel free to let me know and I'm happy to answer anything. All right.
Thank you very much.
Great. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So today I'll discuss a little bit with you about web accessibility and of course compliance as well as the solution overview and a features explanation of how we're actually addressing the needs for the WCAG. So to dive right in, first and foremost, what we're looking at is the WCAG 2.1. Essentially, this is a huge 1,000-page guidebook that's explaining to us exactly how a website should look and operate for people with disabilities. Now, noted in this guidebook, there are all sorts of different disabilities from blindness, ADHD, motor impairments, even aging is actually considered a disability. So WCAG 2.1 at the AA level, this is the global standard of compliance that has been accepted by many different legislations across the world. Most relevant to the United States would be ADA Title III or Section 508 for governmental bodies. There are, however, legislations in Canada, AODA, and ACA, all across Europe, Israel, and the rest of the world as well. Now, the main takeaway from this slide, Bill, really is that WCAG 2.1 at the AA level is the main level of compliance and the global standard. Now, thankfully, everyone has come to us proactively because unfortunately, there has been a very big increase in web accessibility lawsuits. Essentially, what happened is in 2018, the Department of Justice made an affirmation. They stated that websites are places of public accommodation. So just like any building must be accessible to people with disabilities, so must all websites. So that
Really?
spiraled into, so that spiraled just like a building must have a ramp or an elevator, all websites need to actually be accessible. So that spiraled into hundreds of thousands of demand letters and lawsuits with unfortunately high settlement fees as well. Now, something that has made this more difficult for businesses right now are the other alternatives that are available on the market. Now, there are accessibility services you can see here, which would fall under the manual category. Now, these can in fact achieve compliance depending on the scope of the project. However, they're quite expensive. It can be upwards of $15,000 a year per site, and it can take weeks, if not months, to actually implement these changes. Now, compliance drops to 50% within 6 months because a lot of people are making changes to their website. If you make a simple change to your website, that needs to get made accessible as well. And if it doesn't, you're no longer accessible and you're no longer compliant. So manual services have not always been a very good option. Something a little bit newer on the market would be these accessibility plugins. Accessibility plugins, they come with a good idea in mind, but unfortunately they don't comply with the legislation. Simply put, they are not making the website accessible. They're only focusing on design aspects of the website. For example, colors, fonts, maybe a little contrast related adjustments. What they're doing is they're completely disregarding any back-end adjustments that are necessary for blind users or for motor impaired users who are both using assistive technology to utilize your website. So what Accessibility found is that neither of these two are really feasible options for 99% of businesses. So our solution was created with the idea in mind that we need something more simple, immediate, affordable, and of course, a solution that actually achieves global compliance. Now, Accessibility is an entirely AI-powered machine learning software. It was created by people with disabilities for people with disabilities, of course. We actually developed it side by side with people, with 2 brilliant blind developers initially. And from there, we've worked with all sorts of people with many different disabilities, as well as leading experts in accessibility and assistive technology. Now, that has gotten us mentioned across a lot of different news outlets as well. Let's see here. That has gotten us mentioned across a lot of different news outlets as well. Our founders were on the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and we did recently receive $28 million in funding, which is quite exciting because that will help us to achieve our vision, which is to make the entire internet accessible by 2025. Now, this is a tough goal to reach. So we do partner with a lot of different agencies as well. And we did also just open up an entire professional services and solutions suite. So not only is our solution just an AI powered machine learning solution, we also have different services as well. For example, Word and PDF remediation, adding closed captions and audio transcripts to videos, and then of course, all different type of consulting. We do accessibility audits manually, as well as inspections, VPAT services, and even user testing. So we're offering really a full suite of accessibility services. Now, right now, we are protecting over 100,000 businesses worldwide. We are working with the smallest of small businesses all the way up to big enterprise industry leaders. We work with a lot of names that you've probably recognized pretty well, BMW, Billabong, Avon. We're working as well to protect legal institutions such as the Florida Bar Association and Miami State Attorney's Office, those of whom are actually the people that are doing the prosecutions of people who are not compliant. So you can see that they're putting their trust in us to actually make their websites compliant. Now, the main ways that we are protecting our clients, first and foremost, would be with an accessibility statement. This statement is very important because it is actually a legal requirement to have on your website. It acts as a certificate of performance, and it's going to show that you've made all of the necessary adjustments in order to actually achieve WCAG standards. Now, this is provided to our clients within 48 hours of implementing the solution. And to reinforce the statement, our clients are also entitled to monthly accessibility compliance audits. The audit itself will go very in depth and show all of the changes that the AI has actually made to the website in order to achieve compliance. You can see here a couple examples. Buttons cannot be empty, links cannot be empty. So everything that the solution is remediating will be sent over to you in a little report. Now, these reports will act eventually as a proof of ongoing compliance. Now, everything here is enough to ward off most threats. Also, the accessibility statement, of course, will show people with disabilities that your website is in fact compliant. Now, on top of that, unfortunately, there is a litigation side of things. Unfortunately, we live in a place where anybody can sue anybody for anything. So we do offer a litigation support package. If for some reason the compliance of a website is ever called into question, we do offer a litigation support package included in the price of Accessibility. Essentially, this would include various documents that would show that the website is in fact accessible. Included within the litigation support package could be, for example, audits, overviews, failures request master, different statements as well, and even suggested responses to lawyers. Now, as I said, this is also included in the price of Accessibility. Now, really one of the best parts about the solution is how simple and straightforward it is. It's just one single line of JavaScript code. We integrate with any CMS or website building platform. Upon implementation, you will see an accessibility interface appear on your website. This accessibility interface I'll show you momentarily. And then in the background, the AI is going to scan, it's analyzing, it's taking care of those more complex adjustments for blind users and motor impaired users, so that within 48 hours, the site is accessible, compliant, and certified. You're all set to go. And then one of the main benefits of the solution as well is the 24-hour maintenance. Every 24 hours, the AI will scan. Even if there are updates being made onto the website on a daily basis, you are still maintaining your accessibility. We like to say you set it and forget about it. Now, obviously, you can see here, these are all the levels of compliance that we bring your site up to, as well as making it the most accessible solution possible. Now, to touch a little bit on how the solution is actually working, I'll actually take you to a separate page here. Can you see here the new summer collection Try Fashion website?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So basically what we're doing is we're actually leveraging two different components in order to achieve compliance. There's a front end interface you can see here. The front end interface is comprised of profiles and enhancement features, which will actually allow the end user to make adjustments based off of their specific disability. So let's say, for example, somebody who has epilepsy comes to the site. Just gonna mute you there. So let's say, for example, somebody who has epilepsy comes to the site, they will see a flashing GIF or a blinking animation, and this could cause a seizure, unfortunately. So if we turn on the seizure safe profile, we can see that all blinking and flashing is halted. All of those risky color combinations are toned down, generally making it a safer experience for the user with epilepsy. Another example I'll give here is the vision impaired profile. You can see that it enhances all of the color contrast. It makes the font much larger. It actually turns it into a more readable font as well, you can see there, making it a little less distracting and making it easier for somebody with perhaps degrading eyesight, tunnel vision, maybe even cataracts to interact with the site a little bit better. I'll show you one more.
Amanda,
Yes, please.
I didn't quite follow. So if the summer I'm shopping and I'm epileptic and the summer collection site comes up, do I have to go and turn on those things? Because when you're turning those on, it's changing it for all of the user's experience, right?
No, it's just
Okay.
changing it for your experience. It's just going to happen on a session base. So only the one person who's turning on that profile or that enhancement feature will actually see the website change in that way.
I'm sorry, how do they know to turn it on? Did I miss that?
So we have a little icon down here in the bottom corner. You can see this little man that's standing here like this. He's actually the international symbol for accessibility. So it is a pretty well recognized symbol at this point. Usually somebody with a disability will look for this when they come to a website.
I'm sorry. Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's just down here in the bottom. Yeah, we have one here in our website as well. You can see down here. Yeah, no problem. And this, as you can see there, this interface is completely customizable as well to match to your website as well. Now I'll show you one more profile. Did that answer your question though, Lindsay?
Yes, thank you, Amanda.
All right, amazing. So I'll show you one more profile here as well. My personal favorite, the ADHD friendly profile. You can see it scales content a little bit. It does also halt any moving animations and adds in this wonderful reading mask. I like to think of this reading mask as when I was younger and I would put a ruler under a book and read that way line by line. So it's wonderful to decrease some distractions there and make it a little bit easier to interact with the website. Now, on top of those profiles, which by the way, were defined along the terms of WCAG and also created with people with specific disabilities, we do also have all sorts of enhancement features. So any user is able to come in and turn on contrast or content scaling. You can highlight important links and titles. You can even do contrast and saturation related adjustments for color blindness, choosing colors that may work better for your specific impairment. Now, last thing I'll show you within the interface would be the online dictionary. Say, for example, somebody comes to your website and they can't understand the terminology of the website. They're not going to interact with your site for very long. So this can help people not only with disabilities, but also people say, for example, English is your second language, or, you know, you're just elderly and you don't know all of the slang on a site or something like that. So a lot of these features can also be used for people who don't even consider themselves disabled. Now I'll go ahead and reset set settings here now, but just so you know, the interface, as incredible as it is, it's only 20% of the WCAG requirements. Now, the back end is responsible for those more complex adjustments. The back end is responsible for screen reader optimization for a blind user and for keyboard navigation for a motor impaired user. So screen reader optimization, basically a blind user, when they come to a website, they're using an external screen reading device that's reading aloud the contents of the site to them. If you don't have certain ARIA attributes or alternative tags or things written into your code, they're not going to hear anything with substance. They're going to hear icon, menu, drop down, image, nothing actually telling you what that icon or menu is. So obviously, you need to make sure that your website is accessible for people with blindness as well. People who are motor impaired, they're going to be tabbing through the website in order to interact with the website. Now, I'll show you how that looks. If I click the tab key, you can see instantly I can skip to any content, or I can simply navigate through all icons. You can see the little blue square. That's exactly where I'm tabbing. I can tab through all icons, menus. You can see I get to a drop down. It opens right up. If I get even further down in the website, I'm able to open up pop-ups as well. It will lift focus for the pop-up and drop it back down within, so that I can go ahead and interact with every aspect of the website with ease. Now, I personally am not a developer, but I do speak to hundreds of developers on a weekly basis, and I am told constantly and consistently that these are the most difficult things to manually remediate. And you can see that the software truly excels at it. Now, if this solution or if this website was not accessible, what would happen is when I click the tab key, I would just be bouncing all around. Pop-ups wouldn't open, drop-downs wouldn't work. So obviously our solution is making sure that all of that is remediated and made accessible. Now, the last aspect of the solution that I'll show you now is image recognition software for a blind user. So if I inspect certain aspects of the website, and don't worry, you don't have to be too techie or know anything about code for this aspect. All you have to see here is that Facebook right here, the Facebook icon has no ARIA attributes. Essentially what that means is there's no text written behind this Facebook icon. So someone who's blind could come to this site, accidentally click on the Facebook icon and end up on a completely new page and have no idea that that has even happened. Now, if I go down a bit further, we can see here that this GIF, same situation. There's absolutely nothing written behind the GIF, meaning that we have no idea what this GIF is actually about. They would have no idea that travel shopping is 50% off. Down a bit further, we have a rating system. This rating system would just be displayed as a bunch of icons, 5 separate icons, when we can clearly see that this is a rating system. Now, what will happen when a blind user comes to the site? They will receive an announcement to their screen reader. It will invite them to turn on accessibility adjustments by clicking Alt-1 on their keyboard. So upon clicking Alt-1, we can see that all of the code changes before their eyes. And then if we take a look at those aspects of the website again, we can see that a bunch of new information has been added. Now it has an ARIA label here that says Facebook, new window. That is exactly what will be announced to the blind user. Down a bit further, we can see that this GIF also has information added here. Travel shopping 50% off. And then it even describes what it sees. This is all written by the AI. Wood, retro, and luggage. Down even further, we can see here that a rating system, instead of just being 5 separate icons, is now clearly labeled as a 4 out of 5 rating. And that is exactly what will be announced to the blind user. It's smart enough that it knows up here that this woman in the black tank top has arm tattoos. So it'll go pretty in depth for you there. And that's about it of the technical demonstration. Now, obviously, all of this that you just saw is also available in 14 different languages. So that's important to note too. It looks like we lost Bill, but Lindsay, do you have any questions for me?
No, you know me, I jump in and ask them as I
Sure.
have them.
I love that. That's much better that way. Well, perfect. Well, that's about it for the end of the
Actually,
technical.
Amanda, I'm sorry, I did have a
Please.
question. You know how you were saying like buildings have to have ramps, but they don't have to go back and retrofit them because they're sort of grandfathered in until they change the building, and then they have to bring it up to compliancy. is there a grandfathering in? I know websites are constantly being updated, but I'm just, thinking, I just developed my own website. Do I have to be ADA compliant? And that's a lot for,
Yes.
somebody who's just a personal website to put $500 out a year just to be ADA compliant.
Sure. I mean, it would be a lot more if you get a $50,000 lawsuit, unfortunately. But yes, each and every website that's available for public facing does need to be accessible and compliant with ADA Title III.
And are they winning these? Well, they're settling, right? They're
There a
not
lot
going
of
home.
settlements are happening. If we take a look back at this screen here, 93% of demand letters are actually settled outside of court, and they're
Yeah.
for anywhere between 20,000 to 150,000, but they're all being settled. It doesn't just go away, unfortunately. Good questions.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, no problem. Nalini, do you have any questions?
Yes, I had a question about
Please.
what VPAT services are.
Sure. So I can't remember exactly what VPAT stands for. Let me see. It voluntary product accessibility templates. I knew it was something along those lines, but essentially what a VPAT is it's going in and filling out a form that has a checklist essentially. These are more necessary usually for people who need Section 508 compliant. So it's usually more for governmental bodies or for companies that are receiving governmental funding. Typically, they might need a VPAT, or it could be larger organizations like very big conglomerates that might need this as well. It's not always necessary.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Bill, did you have any questions? I think you're muted, Bill. Sorry, Bill, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Mm. Hi, Bill. Can you turn on your mic?
We still got you muted, Bill. We can't hear you.
Need to turn on your mic, Bill.
Still muted. It's just the little button at the bottom that looks like a little microphone. And you just got to click on it to click on mute.
Bottom left. There we go.
There we go, Bill.
Yeah, when my phone rang, I lost the whole site, so I couldn't. I couldn't see unmute, so I went back out, and there was a little button just on the screen unmute, but I can't see you. I just could hear you all.
So you should still be able to see us. Maybe you minused out of the screen or something because we.
No, I went back and tried to go in again, and it wouldn't let me. So anyway, but I can hear you. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, do you have any questions? Because we actually just concluded everything.
Yeah, no, I heard everything you said. So in all the questions, and no, I don't
Okay.
have any questions. I will speak to Nalinia to get further educated on this. This is the first time I ever been heard about it.
Yeah, that's what most people say. First time they've ever heard about it. Well, amazing. Nalinia, Lindsay, do you have any more questions for me before I let you guys go?
No, thanks. You guys are doing great work.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Lindsay. Much
Very
appreciated.
impressive.
Well,
Very
we
impressive.
appreciate our partners. So thank you so much for joining me today. Bill, if you would like, I'll send you over some more resources, and Lindsay as well. I know that Nalinia probably shared all the millions of templates and everything I sent over, but I'll send you both some PDFs and a few videos as well if you'd like to take a look into things a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Will they? Are they the same ones that you shared with me already? Okay.
Yeah, same ones I shared with you already. If I
All
get
right.
anything else, Nalinia, I promise you'll be the first person I shoot them over to. Okay.
No, I'm a sponge right now.
I
What-
know. I love it.
One question I have is what percentage of websites actually have this compliant?
Good question. So Nalinia and I were actually discussing this just before you jumped onto the call. Only 2% of websites are actually accessible at this time.
Well, that's right. So that means, you know, a nefarious law firm can just go out and attack all kinds of people that don't have it,
Yep.
and hold them up.
Exactly.
Using a good law to, you know, take advantage of people who 90% don't know about this.
Well, that's exactly what they do, unfortunately, Bill. They
Yeah.
actually, we were talking about this just before you came in. They choose a different industry every month and they'll
Yeah.
target them. This month, automotive, this month, restaurants, this month, it's actually furniture stores, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's, I can see how a good law turns into a bad thing.
Exactly, unfortunately. Well, that's why we're trying to also steer away from just discussing the compliance aspect of things and show that, 25% of the population, between 20 and 25% of the population is actually disabled. So that's a huge population of people that are not able to use a lot of websites. Now, obviously, it ranges in different disabilities, but we're trying to, make the internet accessible by 2025.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda, so will you be able to send a copy of the recording?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll
share?
send you over a
Okay.
copy of the recording. It takes a couple minutes to process. I'll send it through to you. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach back out to me as well. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right.
Amanda.
Thank you all so much. Have
All
a
right.
great day.
Talk later. You
Bye-bye.
have a great day
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye.